Good morning, everybody, and welcome to HJ Goes Live. Today's session is called Textured Masterclass and Education Part 2, and it's supported by Cantu, and today we're joined by Dion Smith. And we're delighted to welcome back Dion, who talked a little bit in depth about Afrotextured hair training last week, but today she's going to be going into a little more depth on her mission to educate stylists in caring and styling for Afro-textured hair. Dion is firmly committed to building confidence in stylists, and she believes that salons can collectively make a difference and enhance the client experience, all of which is great for business and the wider industry. This session and her initiative is proudly supported by Cantu, and you can sign up for further Cantu textured hair pro training initiative sessions in the link below in the Facebook comments or at www.cantubeauty.co.uk/hair-initiative. Dion, welcome.
Morning, Charlotte. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Gosh, that was a big old intro. Over to you now. It's so nice to have you back. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much.
So to do a little recap for people who might have missed part one of these sessions, tell us a little bit about your hairdressing career and how you've got to where you are today.
Oh, it's so funny, my hairdressing career. I started really young, so like my sort of routine I'm like the oldest sister of 5 of us, so I've got 2 younger sisters. So I started hairdressing from like really young because my weekly routine was to actually wash and plait my sister's hair for school. So that was something that I'd done every single week, and then it kind of just grew from there. So I started doing them, then their friends, and then the mums would come, and then the neighbours, and it's sort of, so I started building up clientele from home. And then eventually one of my neighbours, after years and years, was like, oh, Dion, I think you should go into a salon. And long story short, she funded my first salon.
Oh, amazing.
And then I ended up paying her back, and I was giving her like free hair care throughout the period of the repay. And then, ended up in a salon, and then went into a bigger salon, and then went into another salon. So I was just expanding. And then I got to a point where I had to kind of choose between freelancing and staying in salon, because I started doing a lot of stuff outside of the salon and I was hardly there. So I had to make a decision, and I decided to go freelance. And I haven't looked back since. But I'm glad that I had the salon, because obviously that gave me everything that I needed, and gave me all the tools, and it schooled me for the bigger one.
So kind of leading on from that, I guess that was your education in many ways. Obviously, like you said, you were doing your sisters and your friends and your family's hair, but in the UK hairdressing industry, when it comes to Afro-textured hair education, what would you say the main issues are at the moment?
I think obviously we're going in the right direction now, but I actually did go to college, so I got my MVQ level 2 and my MVQ level 3. I think that a lot of hairdressers, especially in like the sort of black salons, they tend to just kind of set up salons. They don't kind of go to college, or they don't see the need to. A lot of them never self-taught, and that's not a problem. But I think that that's where it kind of begins. But then also there's the issue of when they do go to college or to salons, to school, to learn hair, they're not learning textured hair, which is what they want to do. So it's almost like, why should I go and train? I'm not going to learn it anyway. So we're at this point now where, all these years later, we're obviously now getting into a place where that is going to be available. And I know a few hairdressers have said, oh my God, I wish it was there years ago, or some people have said I left hair because it wasn't there. So if it had been there, they would have probably stayed in hair. So yeah, lots happening in the industry at the moment, a good shake-up, but all in the right direction.
So maybe let's skip ahead to the question about what's happening in the industry at the moment and all the positive things that are happening. So I know Habia is endorsing Cantu's Textured Hair Initiative, which is really exciting, and there's been a lot of coverage in the news about that. So what are your thoughts on that piece of news, and do you think it goes far enough?
I think it's definitely a start. It's amazing to have, obviously, Habia behind Cantu and this hair initiative, and I'm just so happy and excited about the fact that Cantu are doing this for the community. They're getting behind the community, and they're saying we care, and we want to facilitate and we want to help. So the fact that they were able to even put on these free masterclasses to show others and to teach others and to just introduce them to textured hair, I think it's amazing. Obviously, I think we're still at the very, very beginning, and there's still lots of questions being asked, and there's still a long way to go. But as long as we're moving in the right direction, I think that that's a positive thing. And it's been so, like, warmly welcomed by everybody. The whole industry is really excited about it now. So it's really good.
And tell me about your interview that you had with Sky, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was about the National Occupational Standards, which were published in June. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and that experience?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was really surprised when I got contacted. They obviously had got wind of the new standards that have been put in place, and they wanted to cover it. And then they found out about the masterclasses that we had been offering out to the community, and which is a massive starting point, because to be honest, there isn't much in terms of textured hair training or, you know, classes that are going on at the moment. So they just wanted to speak to me a little bit about that and to find out why, and, you know, what we're doing in it and what people can expect from it, and who it's targeted to. So it was amazing. They contacted me. They came to my house, the reporter and the camera guy. The report was actually via online, but the camera guy came, he set up an interview on just like what we're doing in terms of the initiative. So I thought that was just so excellent. And that it was on Sky News every hour, on the hour, like the big news all day long. It was amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing that it's got that national coverage and that they are taking it serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really positive. So maybe if you can tell us a little bit more for people that don't know about the Cantu Initiative, and the free textured hair masterclasses that are happening around the UK, why it's been launched, it would be great.
Yeah. So the Cantu Hair Initiative is an initiative that I am doing with Cantu. So I am the tutor, and what we're doing is we're offering free masterclasses to people that just want to learn about textured hair, people that have probably not touched it, felt it, that just don't understand it. It's a really like basic course that gives you all the fundamentals of, like, you know, what is textured hair, what are the different types, how do you deal with those types, what are the recommended products, like what are the steps, like, so like how do you begin to even start working with textured hair, so things like detangling, how to enhance curl patterns, how to manipulate curl textures. So there's quite a lot in there, and it's just amazing. I think, like I said, Cantu are really trying to get behind the community. They see how important this is, and I think that's what we kind of need. We need people getting behind this and trying to do these sort of things, because it's just not there. It's non-existent at the moment. So I'm just really happy, and it's free. It's completely free, and it's online as well. So anybody in any part of the world can register, take part in it. So yeah,
That's great. We're going global with this.
That's the good thing about being online. You can literally like get involved.
True. So I'd like to ask a question about the terminology of Afrotextured hair, because I know for some people it can be a divisive issue, and words are obviously incredibly important. What's your take on terminology, and do you think saying Afro/textured hair is kind of a neat way to include both sides of the debate? Is there a debate in your eyes?
It's really weird, because for obviously all I've ever known growing up as a child is Afro hair. So I know that Afro is more like a particular style, but Afro hair is what we know. So I don't know anything different, than that. So when that argument came in, it mainly kind of started in the States about, not using the word Afro and referring to textured. And I get why, because there's other people that don't have Afro hair, but they have textured hair, and they have and their hair would have to be kind of treated the same. So I get where it's coming from, but I think to be specific in terms of the type of hair, that the Afro probably stroked, so the Afro textured would probably work. But for me, I don't really have an issue with saying Afro or textured. Of late, I've been obviously leaning more towards the textured because it's more inclusive. But if you're trying to narrow down the particular hair types, then Afro textured would kind of, people know straight away, they can relate to it. Okay, we're talking about type 4 hair, type 3 hair. Yeah. Where when you go lower down the scale, it's still textured, but it's not Afro. So yeah, it's one of those grey areas.
Thank you for kind of giving an overview of that. It's something we're going to be covering more depth actually in HJ's print magazine in future, so it'd be great to get your perspective on that a little further. So cool. So back to the course. who do you recommend it for? Is it for students, for salon owners, everyone?
I would say anybody that has a keen interest in obviously textured hair, obviously people in the industry. So, you know, if you're at college and you're sort of learning and you want to kind of expand your knowledge on Afro-textured hair, for you. If you're in a salon and just maybe want a refresher, or maybe you're not doing as much textured hair, you kind of just want to, you know, remind yourself, because it's good sometimes to do that. So anybody that's like in the hair industry, so freelancers, college goers, anybody in university institutes, anywhere where they're kind of learning hair, it would be recommended for those kind of people. So yeah, I would say mobile stylists as well. We've had quite a few of them come on. So yeah, anybody that just has and wants to learn about textured hair, it's a great starting point for the masterclass.
Well, and for all those listening as well, just a reminder to say that there's a link below the Facebook Live today, which takes you straight through to the masterclasses with Cantu. So as a stylist, you were saying this is a really good kind of foundation level for refreshing or arming you with knowledge. What would be the next steps once you've got those basics down, do you think?
I think like people just need to practice, because obviously practice is what's going to make perfect.
Practice makes perfect.
You just need to keep practicing. And I think that people they shouldn't be scared. I know a lot of times people are scared of what they don't know, but I think once you've got the basics and you've got the fundamentals, the only how you're going to improve is to just keep practicing. And what I also recommend stylists to do, especially if you want to be more inclusive, is post. Show people that you're working on textured hair. You know, we've got platforms like Instagram, Facebook. These are free, like social platforms. People, you know, they have a massive audience. Use those things. Post, show people that you're interested in texture, show them that you're working with it. Because if you're saying you're doing it and we're not seeing that you're doing it, then no one's going to
believe you're even doing it.
You know, so you buy into what you see. So I would say just utilize those platforms, practice, and just keep going until you're completely confident.
Yeah. What I've found has been quite refreshing in the industry is people that are really like high up in their career being totally honest about the areas that they need to develop in, such as Afro-textured hair training, and they're kind of holding their hands up and being like, I'm doing this education. And I think that's quite a positive way of doing it, isn't it? And it's like, don't be afraid if you do have a gap in your knowledge to shout about it. Just show how you're plugging that gap.
That's completely right. And I think I commend them if they are putting their hands up. I don't know, can you show us? Because I don't care, like as much as I know, if I don't know something, I will literally say I don't understand or I don't know. And I'm always trying to learn, I'm always trying to refresh, I'm always like, you know, I suck things up a lot because I just want to stay current and I just want to stay on top of everything, and I'm always trying to improve my skills. Even, you know, people look at me and think I know everything. I don't. You know, you can always learn something. But then you can share what you do know, you can share that knowledge, and you know. So I think it's amazing that people are actually coming forward. Like I've been really, really surprised with the people that have been attending the masterclasses, the feedback that we've been getting. Some of the tutors have brought like a class on and they're like, right, we want to get all of our classes on because it was so good. The candidates came away buzzing. They were like, oh, you know, it's helped them so much. Like little things that they probably weren't thinking about before, it's made them think about. So it's a really good starting point. And I really, like I said, take my hat off to Cantu for just getting behind this. Because it's really important.
So now might be a good time to share the teaser videos that you've got for us today. So I think the first one we're going to show is the twist out video. Do you want to just briefly introduce what this is before we play it?
Sure. So within the masterclass, outside of obviously all the sort of, you know, hair types and product recommendations, there's 2 tutorials and they are done on 2 different types of hair. So just to kind of show the difference. So the first type of hair is type 4. And what I done is I done a twist out and kind of done a little style on her hair just to kind of show how you can kind of switch it up. And that was done on type 4 hair. So that's the first one. So we can show that. There's like, this is just a little secret, but obviously on the actual masterclass, it goes into full detail and you see the, you know, the whole process from beginning to end.
Real.
And there you have it.
There we go.
want to know more, you need to sign up to the masterclass. You're only getting a little bit of a teaser today. You can't
we're only doing teasers, like an amuse bouche.
Exactly.
And the next video is face buns. Tell me about that.
So the next video is on type 3 hair. So what I done with her is I just showed how you can enhance somebody's natural curl texture without having to actually use any kind of heated tools to manipulate the curl. And then I just put it up in a little cute kind of like space bun look, just to kind of give it a little something. And that didn't take very long. So that's just showing how you can enhance curls and just do something really cute that's not going to like take you the whole day to do. So that was really good as well. And her hair was color treated, so it was just, I went through that a little bit too. So yeah, you can play that teaser.
Cute.
But so effective.
I love that. So for people that might be, I don't know, nervous about working on clients with Afrotextured hair, I think you've got a kind of genius solution to this with the Ebony doll head. Tell us a little bit about the Ebony doll head.
So the Ebony doll head is a type 4 textured doll that I had launched during the COVID time, actually, during the pandemic. I think I launched, she's been out for about a year now. And I specifically made her just for people that are scared, like I said, to kind of touch Afro-textured hair or to mess up. So she's like a good starting point, especially if you're not like 100% confident. You can kind of purchase her and you can use her to literally kind of get started. So just feel her hair, get used to that, the density, you know, parting it, braiding it, brushing it, that sort of thing. So that once you practiced on her, then obviously it's going to give you more confidence to kind of move into real clients. But she's an amazing tool to just make all of your mistakes on before you sort of go onto the real client. So that's what she's about, just to kind of be more inclusive. Because obviously there's I don't think there's any like really like great dolls with textured hair that's on the market at the moment. So it's
so true, so true. I think that is just, particularly launching during the pandemic when people had time at home, like, yeah, really smart.
Thank you.
Do you think that salons should have dedicated Afro-textured hair specialists, or are you kind of more of the opinion that all stylists should be able to work on all hair types?
Yeah, this is a good question and it keeps coming up. And I think my own personal, I have to say personal, thoughts on this is that I feel that everybody should be capable. So I feel that everybody should have that, like the basic training, and should be able to offer some sort of service. However, there's nothing wrong with having somebody that specializes in certain areas, because that's what you do anyway. You might have someone in the salon that's great at cutting, someone that's color, you know, color technicians are in a whole thing on their own. And then you might have someone that's good at braids, someone that's good at shortcuts, you know, it depends on what you're doing. So there's nothing wrong with having a specialist in the salon that can offer an amazing service, but I think that all stylists should definitely be trained and have knowledge of working with textured hair.
Well, that does make sense.
Yeah.
So Cantera is obviously really supporting the work that you're doing with the masterclasses, and they are renowned for their Afro-textured hair expertise. Have you got any favourites that you could name drop today in terms of products and hair tools and accessories that Cantu has?
Yeah, so this part I get really excited about, because they
look at your face.
Tools. No, honestly, they have some really good tools. And if you sign up to the masterclass, you'll see I actually have chosen like my four top tools in the masterclass, and I go into it in a bit more detail. But they've got some amazing combs. They've got combs that don't melt, so they have heat resistant. They've got like detangling. They literally have everything in terms of like sectioning clips. So their tools are amazing. Like, it's literally in my kit, and I use that for session and for clients. And then outside of that, my go-to favorites for Cantu products is definitely the leave-in conditioner. And I think that's their hero product. I think that's like their main like top product basically. I love that product. It's really good for like just conditioning the hair, moisturizing it. And obviously it's a conditioner that you leave in, so it stays in the hair. So that's a really good product. And then I love they've got like a daily moisturizing lotion which comes in an orange bottle. It's amazing, like as in it's not even just on textured hair, it's on like if your hair's chemically processed as well and it's relaxed, it gives them a really nice shine, it doesn't wear the hair down, and it's like a creamy kind of cream based product. And then I also love the coconut curling cream. That's probably they're probably like my three favorites, but in order it would be the leave-in coconut curling cream, then the daily moisturizer. The coconut curling cream is really good for like enhancing curls. It doesn't give too much of a hard hold, so it's like a soft hold, and you're able to actually brush the curls out afterwards without having to use water. So it gives like a really soft hold, and it just releases like almost as you brush it. So that's a really good product as well, and it's creamy based as well, and it just goes into the hair really well. So they're like my three kind of top Cantu products.
Cool. Thank you for giving us that little edit. So I've also, a little birdie told me you've been doing some amazing work and possibly some covers recently, using Cantu. Can you give us any teasers about that?
Yeah, so we recently collaborated with Spell magazine, and we were able to do like a really amazing cover with Jordan Rain. I think she was in Love Island, and she's just beautiful, and the cover is amazing. And we have got some other things in the pipeline that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but it's been amazing just being able to like just collaborate with other people and put amazing work out, you know. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to all the other stuff that's coming up.
Oh, cool. You kind of winking at me there.
You know, it's like you really want to talk about all the stuff that you can't. So it's like I want to say it, but I can't. I need to hold it in until the time comes. So it's like, oh, but yeah, there's a lot of amazing stuff coming out of Cantu.
Amazing. So we've had some questions through for people watching on Zoom actually, and on Facebook. I'm going to put a couple to you now, if that's okay. This is from Laura Taylor. She says, would you say that the north of England have a lot of catching up to do compared to London and even Birmingham? She's from Yorkshire, and if she wants to get a natural hair treatment for her 4B hair, the closest place she can go to a professional level treatment that she knows is reputable is London. Would you agree with that? Have you got any opinions on that? South divide?
It's really sad because I do agree with it. I think that a lot of the London salons are a bit more up to, you know, par with what's going on. And as we move further out, it does get really restrictive. I had clients that used to come in from like Reading, Oxford, like Luton, everywhere. And I used to wonder why are they coming all the way to London? And it's literally because they can't find anywhere on the outskirts that can offer the facilities that they want. So I think this is like, again, part of the bigger picture of like people just training and learning and people not having to literally come out of their whole area and go to another one just to get a decent treatment. Like that just shows you like where we're at and how bad this issue really is.
Yeah. And for salons, like we said earlier, that are training and are looking to improve their skills in this area, shout about it on social media, because yeah, there might be a salon in like a small village in Yorkshire that is doing this, but then clearly not getting the message out there that they are doing it. So that's really crucial as well.
Show the clients that are coming in that you are working on. And if you're not like, and you're just interested in it and you have knowledge or whatever, then maybe do some days where, you know, you just have half a day where you invite people down and you can just do stuff and like, you know, work with textured hair, take pictures and put those stuff out. But like, you have to put it out in order for people to see it, you know, so that it will attract the customers. Because for real, there probably is salons that are missing out on business because they're not putting it out and people are going over them and coming into London when they could literally just go up the road. So I think it's really important in terms of your messaging to just get those messages out.
And then, as is kind of demonstrated by that lady's question, you've got really loyal clients then that will travel hundreds of miles for you. So even from a purely business perspective, like, yeah, you want to be
exactly
in that relationship for sure.
Exactly.
So we've got a question that's a bit more technical, so I'm hoping you understand it more than me, and I know you will. So Janine says, how do you feel with it being known as 3ABC, 4ABC?
Okay, so yeah, I'm a little bit like, I even talk about this in the masterclass. I think it's a good guide, but I think that it should only just be used as a guide, because sometimes you do find that according to the types of what you're seeing on the scale, that there's hair that's outside of that.
Okay.
So it's just kind of understanding, it's like a guide. So you can kind of just use it to kind of guide you. But sometimes, like I said, hair is outside of that space. Once you understand the guide, you can kind of then say, okay, well, that's kind of in between those two. So it would be around hair, which means those kind of products will work for hair. And if it's outside of 4C, then you just know it's type 4. So generally type 4 products will work on that. But I think it's good for a guide, and it helps to kind of direct as in what products to use, what hair will do what, how it will react to certain things. But it's not, you know, everything. I don't think you should just like completely rely on it. You kind of have to use your common sense as well.
Yeah, so it's not totally prescriptive,
Yeah.
it's a guide, as you said.
That's right. That's a good question though.
Laura's asked, will there be face-to-face courses in the future?
We are hoping so. Again, things are in the pipeline, but yeah, we are hoping so. I mean, at the moment, it generally, when we initially wanted to bring this to colleges and institutes and stuff, it was on that whole face-to-face basis, but we felt the need to kind of just get it out. And obviously because of the pandemic, we couldn't, but we felt the need to just still be able to get it out. And it was timely. It's a good thing we did, because like I said, the intake has been just ridiculous. Like, people are really interested. And it just makes me I feel overwhelmed sometimes. I'm like, actually, people really, really want to learn. They want to know. It's just like, where do you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go to learn Afro hair?
Yeah. To you.
You know? Yeah, it's really good that people are really interested and they're taking it up. And it just makes me feel like, okay, people actually do want to know. They're hungry to learn. So that's good. That makes me feel good.
We've got a question from Lisa asking about, do you and Cantu link with colleges for staff development?
For staff development? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, potential though.
We haven't, but I mean,
things could happen right here. This could be the start.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, we haven't so far. It's literally just been for the students and stuff like that. But that's actually not a bad.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Lisa, we'll get back to you, and you could have started something pretty special right here. And Janine is back with another question, and she's asked whether you do group sessions for students. So I guess if it's the online stuff you're delivering, they are very open to being shown as a group, but I'll let you answer fully.
So group sessions, yeah, if it's online, I still generally try to cap it at about 60 if it's online, because sometimes when you get the questions coming through, you kind of want to, answer all of them. And then if it's like on a face-to-face basis, it depends on the level of the stylist and where they're at. But if they're more advanced, even if they haven't touched textured hair, you could probably get more of them in a room. But if they're like really at that beginning stage, I tend to want to keep the groups a little bit smaller, because then you can kind of deal with them individually and you'll have that time. The worst thing is going into a class and it's just like really full and you just come out feeling like I didn't even learn anything. I couldn't ask the questions I wanted. I couldn't say that actually I don't know how to do that. Can you show me? So I feel like it just really depends on who's in the class. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that kind of training.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just to say, we've got someone watching from Croatia today. Hey,
oh, wow.
That's pretty good. Like when Eurovision. And we've got someone from Birmingham who has said that they've been offering Afro hair courses for a few years now. So good on them for shouting about it. So if anyone's listening, the Midlands area, that's really encouraging to hear. Cool. Well, I think this is about time for us to leave it. So I know you've got a busy day ahead of you.
Yes.
Who's next? Sky News, BBC?
Oh, no, I've just got a photo shoot.
Oh, just a photo shoot. Amazing. Well, wish you all the luck with your photo shoot today, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for your time.
And just before I go, guys, just want to remind you that the link is in the comment box below. So do feel free to sign up to the Cantu Masterclass. It's a really good starting point. It's a really good introduction to textured hair. And then, we can kind of see where that goes after that. But sign up, guys, and yeah, see you on the other side. Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, everybody else. Thank you for joining us. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to Cantu.
Yes.